Losers inspire.
Welcome back. It's been a while. It felt like it's been a whole year. It was just 2025. Now it's 2026, and we are alive, living, inspired every day, forever, because that's life. And I am Science Inspired, your guide, generating, uplifting, inspiring, developing, and empowering you to live inspired every day, forever. You got it right, because that's life. And today is week one. This is the first week, our first discussion in the new year, and we're talking about awakening intention, understanding the power of conscious choice. And so we made a conscious choice with our aesthetic, with our look today. Still got the glasses on because we are still shining bright, and we want to make conscious choices as we go into this new year. So I got my nouns glasses on today. Shout out to nouns. 2026 is our blockchain year. We're going to push that forward, start pulling out and showcasing more of what we have in store for our community members, for those participants, those viewers. I'm inspired. But enough about that. Let's get into our discussion. Let's talk about the power of conscious choices that we need to make. A conscious choice is something we decide versus, man, I ain't had no choice. That's a lie. And we done with that. We're done minimizing ourselves. We're done playing the background, being little, doing all of that. It's about the truth now. Okay, we have choice, so let's make it. If we don't make choice, is that still a choice? Our principle, we'll answer that question in a bit. But our life principle talks about intention as the architect or the architecture of our future. Nothing that we build is accidental, right? We choose first. So nothing that we do is actually by accident. We make the choice first. So our focus needs to be on initiating our awareness so that our conscious choice is the foundation of our empowered life. We want that to be the foundation. So we need to initiate our awareness in each and every situation, aware of what is going on so that we can make a decision. At this point in time, we may not be aware of what is going on because we're so distracted by everything that's going on around us. We're not focused and paying attention on our life, making those empowered choices that we need to make. And I know right now in the news, we're talking about another country and what happened to their president, but how does that affect your personal life? That wasn't a decision you made, yet we're reacting to someone else's decision. What conscious decisions are you making in your life that are going to impact your day, week, month, year? Okay? So let's start with our affirmation and let us affirm our intentions. My intentions shape my direction and determine my results. My intentions shape my direction, which way I'm going, and determine my results, what I receive. So our intentions shape which way we go and what we get from that. So if we're not intent on which way we go, we're also not intent on what we receive. This can cause problems. It's probably why we're uncomfortable, not getting what we want because we're not intent on going the right direction, doing the things that we need to do, taking those steps, speaking power into this, right? Affirming things, right? So the intention that we have here is to deepen. We're going deep. Every week we go deeper, every month. So now this is 2026. We're starting and we're going to go deeper to understand our intention and how it plays a role as an active force that is guiding us. It's not passive, sitting in the background. Like, You're putting it in the back seat. It needs to be the passenger. Or you get in the back and let it chauffeur you, let it drive you, let it guide you as that active force. So we don't wish upon a stuff. I hope, I wish, I pray. Those things are passive. You don't have to hope and wish and beg for something that you can be intent and enact. So to awaken your responsibility for what we are consciously choosing to create. Because every single day you wake up out that bed, when you open your eyes, you make a choice. You gonna snooze that alarm or you gonna get up? You gonna brush your teeth or you gonna, I hope you brush your teeth. Otherwise, you're talking shit every day. But we're making choices. Okay. And so that is our understanding that I am making the choice, then I need to be aware and always make the choice. I need to stop saying I didn't have, I couldn't, I can't. We need to make the choices all the time. Otherwise, the outcome is not one that we chose. And we want our outcome to be clarity. We want our outcome to have power in our intention. So if we intend to do something, that's the power. I say it, I mean it, because we're going to do it. Are we saying what we mean? And then are we doing what we say? One of our agreements is to be impeccable with our word. Shout out to the book, The Four Agreements. If you read that before, then you know that. If you have not, maybe that's a book that you want to pick up and read, The Four Agreements, because this is what we're talking about, not just choices. We also have to identify what agreements did I make? Because maybe I need to break some of those agreements that I made, which I told myself I'm going to stay silent. I'm not going to speak up. I need to break that agreement and I need to start speaking up. Or when I told myself, see, I ain't going to go there. I need to break that and I need to go there. We have agreed at times to things that don't assist us. They don't empower us. They negate us. They pull us away. And maybe we need to be pulled away. And once we're put away, now we're aware what happens. We make the choice next time. All right. If you didn't choose it that time, then you choose it this time. We're just going to keep iterating until we are the ones dictating our life. To recognize before, if we're not the ones dictating, then what was happening? How were those unconscious choices shaping my life? Because I got tired of that. I'm tired of me not being able to experience what I want to experience, me not being able to be me. Well, it's time for me to choose me. That's the first choice. The intent is the first thing that we have. And then we must then choose deliberately as we move forward. So as we're moving forward, we start to identify, okay, I'm not making a conscious choice. So that means the choices were being made for me. Like how? If I did not choose, then how all of a sudden that happened? Is because you are here to choose and you choose not to. So there's never a time where we're not doing that. We just weren't aware. So we want to make ourselves aware. We want to understand passive hope, how hope can be passive, and how intention is active, and how that every new beginning, 2026, starts with a choice. Before this year even started, you was already going through what you were going to choose in 2026. Next year, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do that. Now 2026 is here and we have to choose because every new beginning starts with a choice. If we say, okay, it's a new year, okay, then what are you choosing to do that's new this year? If you didn't choose anything new, it's the same old, same old. So the guiding question that I have for us today is, where in your life are you still hoping things will work out instead of actively directing? You go over there, you go over there, you go over there. So where are we hoping that things will change instead of actively directing our energy and being clear with our intention? There's no confusion. You clear. This is what this goes. This is what I need to do. Put things in their proper place and in their order, and then we act out on them. Where in our life are we still hoping versus actively directing? So is you still sitting around on your hands or you're getting active? Because like we said, these new beginnings, they don't just start because we hope they gonna start. They don't just start because circumstances. They start with decisions. When you decide to do something different, then we must do it. Okay. A lot of us want change. A lot of people want change, but then they don't choose differently. I remember I used to be like, I always been skinny my whole life. And so I used to always be like, all right, man, if I get into the gym, and I could see it, if I get into the gym, start lifting weights, then all of a sudden I'll be bigger, right? Bigger, stronger, faster. Then I wouldn't go to the gym. Then a month would pass, 2 months would pass. And after 3 months, I'll be like, man, if I would have went to the gym 3 months ago, where would I be right now? And I would keep doing this without ever actually choosing different until I actually chose different. It was like, just get in the gym. Okay, 1 day, then 2 days, and 3 days. Then it built that consistency, but it had to start with a choice. I had to be like, okay, I am not going to choose to go. I am going to choose to know. We can have all the information right here, but if you don't choose, you just got a bunch of stuff sitting in your hand that we're not able to use. Right? We want to make these choices to say, if this is a fresh start, then I'm going to start fresh because this is a new year. It's a new beginning. It's the first month. And January is a fresh beginning, right? The energy is fresh right now. January is like, it represents pure potential. Why? It's the first month. So 12 months in a year, that means we're at the beginning and we can all have potential as to what this year is going to be. We start now, we're like, oh, this year I'm about to do this. We're going to start talking about in the summer, all the trips we going to take. And oh, man, this is going to be my best year ever. And then we sit around on our hands and be like, well, I hope and I wish and I pray that it'll happen. But our prayer is more of a hope and a wish. And it's not the directing. Okay. So we don't need to use January as this new resolution. And it's not fresh because it's the new year. The power is in the awareness. The beginning of the year, January, the potential that we have means that we need to be aware. You need to be aware because potential without awareness of itself, can it actually maximize itself? Can it actually benefit itself? What I'm saying is, you know how many people you with potential that didn't believe they had potential? So did they really have potential? If that person would just, and they never did, because you saw potential in them, but they didn't see potential in them. So awareness, we have to be aware of our potential and then begin to act out on that. So our intention is not a resolution that we're going to make from a place of lack. Then be like, I should fix this. So my New Year's resolution is no, no, no. We are planting the seed. You're planting the seed. Our awareness is the soil, and it is very fertile. So we are going to plant this seed in that soil because we choose. So we're coming from a place of wholeness. We are choosing to grow this. This is a huge distinction that we need to understand because that's the first step. When we're talking about being empowered and creating, our first step is understanding choice. But not just choice, the intention to choose. And so our scriptural anchor is going to help us understand this. Our scriptural anchor comes from Joshua chapter 24, verse 15. And it says, and if it seems evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom ye will serve, whether the gods which your father served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And if it seems evil unto you, choose you this day. If you don't like what's going on, then choose what you're gonna do. Choose it today. All right. Are you gonna choose to go that way, or are you gonna choose to go that way? All I know for me and mine, we're gonna choose this. It is telling us, showing us choose. We're sitting around thinking somebody's supposed to choose it for us. And when they do, you ain't gonna like it. You're sitting there like, which one should I choose? But that one. You went with that one, you're like, I didn't like it. You asked me. You keep asking people to help you choose because you don't trust yourself. Keep asking people to choose for you because you're afraid to choose. Yet that is a choice. And we need to remove all these middlemen that keep having their hands in the pot. And it is up to you now. How many people do we need anyway? How many voices do you continuously need playing out inside your head that have been misleading you that you want to keep adding more and more and more? No, we're supposed to be removing those voices so we can get to the soul voice, the source. You ain't heard the source because you keep hearing all these other voices that are trying to confuse you, trying to distract you, trying to deter you, and they have been working because we're going in circles, not knowing if we up, down, left, or right because we can't discern which is the right voice that we are supposed to be hearing. And so we're being told to choose. This has many layers on it. But the focal point for us is that choice, the conscious choice. Are you going to choose? If you don't like what you are receiving, then choose something different. Because I know for me and mine, this is what we gonna do. It never ever is telling you you're bad. It says if you don't like it, choose something different. You gonna choose that or you gonna choose that? Which one? We know what we're gonna choose. You need to choose. Because if it seems evil, if this seems bad for you to live your life this way, if it's hard for you to live inspired every day forever, then choose the life that you want to live. What you want to do? What choose. But stop going around here making the excuses, complaining, because you have a choice. And you act like you don't because you want to give it away. Then we want to blame. Ain't no more of that. Empowerment begins when that choice becomes conscious. So it's time to wake up and choose. All right. Understanding that our choice, every choice that we make, is sacred and it's unavoidable. You can't avoid it. Even not choosing is a choice. You thought you was clever. You're like, no, I'm not. I'm not gonna choose. Which one? Red pill, blue pill. I'm not gonna choose. You chose already. Not choosing is a choice. So all this, but I didn't have a choice. That's more of an excuse than it is an absolute truth. You are making an excuse so you can say, I didn't choose that. At the end of the day, I didn't choose that. In my 20s, I never voted. Not one time. That was a choice I made. And people would always say, well, if you don't choose, you can't complain. I wasn't trying to complain anyway, number one, but I can do whatever I want to because that was my choice. You just told me to choose between bad and bad, and I said I ain't choosing neither one of them. So I chose me. I chose the middle. I chose myself to do it on my own, to be out there, to be a renegade, whatever it is you want to say. But when you are posed with that, you have a choice. And so many times we think we don't have a choice, that I got to vote for this one or that one. Actually, you don't. By not choosing that, you made your choice. Now, what are the effects of that choice? And I ain't gonna lie to you, that's something I would have liked to see in this country. We have a democracy where we have two parties that we choose from. And it seems like we can't even differentiate the difference between these two parties. Yet we keep choosing between the two parties because we keep saying, but I don't have a choice. Yes, you do. You can abstain. What happens if abstain and didn't vote and they still picked the president anyway? You will have something to say. You'll say, wait, whoa, time out. How could you still pick something if the people didn't vote? It just said we the people. Now you pull the skirt off. You just exposed it. But we don't get to that point. And this is just me talking about politics, but in our own lives, we don't actually expose what the issue is. You need to expose yourself. You need to stand in that mirror and expose yourself. Challenge yourself. When you said you couldn't do it, challenge it. And you expose yourself. You was a fraud. You was a fraud. And if you expose yourself for being a fraud, guess what you got to do? You got to be accountable. Now you got to live your life. That's what's hard. We exposing it all because you really think that you're afraid to die, and really you're afraid to live. You're afraid of life. You rather be fraudulent and believe that you are incompetent, incapable, not strong enough, not beautiful enough, not worthy enough, than to recognize the truth of the matter is you're all of that. You lack awareness. You ain't seeing it. And then you aren't intent on being it. I told you what you were. I continue to tell you what you are, and you deny it. That's on you. How we gonna curse the universe, our ancestors, our parents, God, and everybody when that's on you? So don't. I didn't have a choice. Yes, you do. We're not here to make more excuses of this. We're here to make use of this life. And the best way to make use of our life is to live it. Yep, inspired every day forever. That's life. Brought to you by. We're going to say it every day, all day, because it's the truth. We confuse these words because we continue to associate them to the flesh. We confusing things because we trying to bring it and make it of the world. So everything has to be made real. I gotta be able to, it's gotta be physical. That's the problem. This ain't about which deity you gonna serve, but which law, which rhythm, which truth will you align your life with? You so focused on that physical thing, trying to say somebody needs to worship this, worship that. That ain't it. It ain't about the deity that you worship because you ain't supposed to be. It's about the law, the rhythm, the truth that you align your life with. So, will you be inspired or will you live in spite of? Because to be inspired is to choose the Lord. It's to choose to live in spirit, to choose life. To live in spite of is to choose to be of the world. It's going against spirit. To be on the other side of the flood. Remember, you just heard, are you going to choose that your father chose, which was on the other side of the flood? To be in spite of, we're going to be on the other side. To be inspired means we choose clarity over confusion, alignment over reaction. I'm aligned. I ain't reacting to everything. We're choosing spirit over survival mode. So we thrive in spirit. We're not trying to survive in the flesh. That means intention over impulse. So instead of just impulsively buying things like we've done before or impulsively kicking stuff like I just did right there, we are intent on what we do. So I intentionally chose that. So when you say, ooh, I knew what I was doing. I did that. That was done on purpose. The opposite of that. So the opposite of being intentional is to be impulsive. Is to be ruled externally, not by our internal voice. That's where we live in spite of. We living in reaction. We reacting to everything. Everything that we see on the news, everything we see on social media, react. In that mode, that means we're in fear. We live in the ego. We're in the old patterns, those inherited beliefs that was passed down from generation to generation that told you not to do too much, to hide who you are because you're afraid, you're living in fear, being of the world. So now you're in the rhythm of the world and society, doing what they tell you to do. And if you haven't noticed yet, if you're over the age of 20, if you're 20, matter of fact, yeah, 20 or above. I mean, you had 10 conscious years. After 10 years old, you had 10 whole years where you could see something. So if you're older than that, I hope you're recognizing that society don't know what the hell it wants. Every 5 years, every 10 years, society changed. Look at where we are now. 10 years ago, you could do or say certain things that you can't do or say now. Why? What happened? What changed? Somebody just decided all of a sudden, this ain't okay to do no more. This ain't okay to say no more. But when you look internally, you said, why would I have done those things? This is how our life begins to evolve and change and mature. We're looking back at ourselves in our teens and 20s and saying, why was I doing the stuff I was doing? You start recognizing you was ruled externally. Now we start to grow older and we start to, start slowing down, start wanting to be more present. Things have a different importance to us as we begin to mature and we start to understand what is important. You be like, hey, I gotta start listening more internally, following that voice. Because I was following these external voices and y'all had me doing something different all the time. This is why I was confused. On Monday, I was doing this, then the next day couldn't do that, was doing something else. Wednesday, he was doing this. By Friday, I ain't know what was okay to do. So I'm just doing everything, hoping that I get approval. But when you live in spirit, you don't care about none of that. So society is the one that's constantly pointing fingers at you, laughing at you. Ha ha ha! Look at what he's doing. Ha ha! And it's always funny in that moment. You you notice all the people that society is laughing at are the same people that society be looking up to later on. When we was in the crowd laughing, we was part of the group, and it was okay because we just fit in. We was being little, we was being small. We didn't want to shine. The moment you start shining, people start pointing at you. Oh my, look at them. What are they doing? They wanted to make you feel bad for finally seeing yourself. They wanted you to feel bad for aligning yourself so that you would dim that light and come back into the crowd, man. Come back over here where things are easy, where you can be complacent. Well, they told us over and over and over when we was in that sandy dust bowl in Afghanistan. They said, listen, gents, don't become complacent because complacency kills. And the enemy is watching everything you do. And the moment you become complacent, that's not just for Marines in wartime. That's real life. The enemy is constantly watching you, waiting for you to relax, take it easy, to slip up. They're going to convince you and entice you. Stop doing that. Don't do that. Take it easy. Come on. Come over here. Don't relax. You don't need to do that. You're like, okay. This is when we get derailed. This is when we feel at our worst. You know you're supposed to be, didn't do it. You was listening to them voices. Come outside, man. Come on, man. Come on. How many of us got in trouble for going against and listening to? They done double dog dared you and guilt tripped you into doing it. Now you got a story to say, yeah, this is how it happened to me because I was following them, listening to them. Messed up my life. Some of us don't even get the chance to make a correction on that. Some have messed up so much listening to the world, their life is over. That's a lesson that we should be learning from. We discard that too and be like, nope, not me. It could be. So you should be learning always what happened to that person and how. Okay, this is why I need to find my authentic voice more and more. Because if as I listen to that, I am not put in those situations. I don't want to live in spite of, I want to live inspired. So when we're saying, do you want to live inspired or do you want to live in spite of? I want you to understand. I'm not saying good or bad. Each his own. So it's not bad. It's just misaligned. And just like you shouldn't drive your car out of alignment, you shouldn't live your life out of alignment. Because, and I looked this up, some symptoms of a bad alignment, right? This is a car. Your car isn't aligned, it's going to start pulling or drifting, right? You're going to crooked steering. You're going this way, the car going this way, right? Uneven wear and tear on those tires. And we know uneven wear and tear on those tires, how that complicates the life of our vehicle and the experience that we have, right? The vibrations now, your car shaking, squealing tires, loose or sloppy steering. That's a symptom of a bad alignment in your car. Yet, the symptoms of a bad alignment in your life is pulling or drifting, being pulled the wrong way, drifting the wrong way, crooked steering. You tell yourself you want to go right and you're going left. You can't help it. I keep following behind these people. Why do I keep finding the wrong person to be in relationship with? You got crooked steering. You're going this way, right? Uneven wear and tear on your tires, on your life. Uneven wear and tear. You're doing so much and receiving so little. This ain't even fair. Now, the vibrations on your life is all out of whack. Have no vibrations. It's dull. You're falling down. The squealing tires is us squealing because we complain and we crying out all the time. So just like our car should not be driven in a bad alignment, we shouldn't be living our life out of alignment. And this is why most people get exhausted. They think they choosing the higher, the most high. They think they choosing God when in fact they just choosing people pleasing. They choosing surviving. They choosing trauma responding. They're choosing to accept those same cultural expectations and those emotional patterns that they've had. They choosing the same old, same old. And they're like, yeah, but I'm with God. No, you're not. Because God ain't gonna have you doing the same old thing. Matter of fact, when you choose God, God ain't gonna have you silent. Are you, huh? It's not gonna happen. And it's again not to point a finger and say good or bad. We are understanding where we are aligned or misaligned, and we are putting that in alignment. All right, cool, changing it. You gotta break down a lot of this FUD, because when we talk about good or bad, that produces more fears, more uncertainties, and more doubts. And what we're here to do is remove that, to be certain. Because why are we fearful? If what it say? What's the one word, the one phrase that's repeated more than any other phrase in the Bible? And it's be not afraid. And what are we afraid? We are not good following the rules. And when I was a kid, when I was a shorty, guess what they used to say? This used to be a commercial that came on all the time. It said, it's very cool to follow the rules. Maybe we don't know the rules anymore. So it's hard to play the game when you don't know the rules. That's why we need the key to life. So our key to life is intention is direction, not desire. Intention is direction, not desire. Because intention is not hoping, wishing, or motivating. That's not intention. Intention is direction, yet it's set by your awareness. You become aware, you make an intent, and you start to go. If we was hoping something, did we go anywhere? No. If we're wishing for something, are we aware and did we direct anything? No. If we're motivating, are we aware? Did we direct anything? No. This is why intention is needed, because that intent, which is directed, which is our direction, is set by our awareness. We become aware of what the issue is or what we need. We make an intention to go get that. And then guess what happens? You go and do it. It's not likely where you become aware of something, you make the intent to change, and then nothing happens. Once you become aware and you make that intent, it's autopilot after that. It doesn't matter if it happened in day 1 or day 100, it happened. But you have to have awareness and intention. Every action already has an intention behind it. Are you aware? The question is whether it is to be or not to be conscious or unconsciously made. So every action has intention behind it. Are you conscious of that? Or are you unconscious of that? Did you decide, or was it decided for you because you said, I don't want you. I don't have a choice. Okay, cool. Thank you. So you're left. Oh, they go left. You're going left. That sure. So when we look in preparation for this, and in all of my discussions, we gotta go into other wisdom traditions. We don't have a one-sided perspective. It's a universal perspective, bringing it all together so we can see where we need to go. Some of us might go left, some of us might go right, some of us might go straight, some of us might go back home, some of us might go nowhere. We just simply want to empower us to make that choice. But what we're seeing is like this is consistent across different, when it comes to intention, that is recognized as the seed of all manifestations. Like the intent was the first. So the soul's first step into the world was through intention. It intended to be made alive. So the intent happens, we step into the world as form. So what we're going to look at today, we're going to look at Vedic, we're going to look at Islamic, we're going to look at Taoist, of course. Then we have science. So the first one that we're going to talk about comes from the Vedic, and it's Sankalpa. And we talked about this in our last discussion before the new year to set up our new year. So as a reminder, a Sankalpa is a resolve or an intention. So here we're seeing that a Sankalpa is an intention that is planted in the heart mind. You ever heard that before? The heart mind? Like you ever heard that your heart has a mind of his own. That's interesting. So this is an intention planted in the heart mind. So what is it? It is the truth that you wish to realize, not a goal. It is a truth you wish to realize, not a goal. And that is important because a lot of us set goals of, I want to make this, I want to do this thing. So when we're talking about an intention or a truth that we wish to realize, that is stating I don't want to say that is how we are, the place we are, the energy that we're in. So if I'm saying the truth you wish to realize, that is not, I want to make $100,000. That is, I want to be emotionally sovereign. That's the truth I wish to realize. I want my emotions to be sovereign, for me to have them in balance, in harmony, not to be ruled by them. An emotionally sovereign person can make $100,000, can make $100 million. But if I say the goal is to make $100,000, does that mean that I'm emotionally sovereign? Does that mean that I am at peace? No. So we want to express the truth that we want to live in, not the goals. The goals are small. And we don't have to operate down here, and we can operate up here. The higher encompasses the lower. The lower does not encompass the higher. Greater, the lesser. So we want the higher of the two. The truth we wish to realize is the higher, not the goal that you want to achieve. So a true intention is a statement of being. When we have a true intention, it's a statement of being. I am blank, blank, blank. This is why we're always very stressed this. Be mindful of what you say after I am. Be mindful. Be aware. Are you aware that when you say I am, you follow that with a negative? Normally you say I am not. Dang. And now start to be aware of your life, and when you say I am and you put that not at the end, and you be like, oh, maybe I see it. If I am saying I'm not smart enough, then you look at your life and you be like, oh, I'm not smart enough. So what do I see? Dumb mistakes. And I'm the one saying I'm all these dumb mistakes I keep making because you think you ain't smart enough. If you think you're incapable, you look around your life, you see, oh, I'm not capable. Why? Because I believe I'm incapable. If you think you're not deserving, you look around your life, you're like, I don't have anything because I'm not deserving, not worthy. Dot, 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 dot. We changing that because that is our true intention. So stop. Don't do it no more. If you're going to say I am, and you need to understand the power in that statement, that word, that name. If you're going to say I am, it must always be followed by something positive. Always. Always. For the I am, when you declare that, that is always positive. So now you can tell yourself, I am grounded peace. I am guiding actions naturally, instead of setting that goal of, I must do this for 30 days. I got to go to the gym. I must. No, I am physically healthy. That's the state you want to be in. I am physically healthy. Because once you start stating that I am physically healthy, guess what a person who's physically healthy is going to do? It's going to naturally be active. Does that mean you had to go to the gym just to be active? No, you could went on a walk, could went on a jog, you could went to the park, did whatever. When you set that goal, it does not mean that that is the true intent. It does not mean that that's the state you want to be in. It's just a small goal. You might just want to go to the gym for 30 days so you can take photos and make it look like you got arms, and then somebody be like, oh, you're so strong, and then boom, now you got them. Manipulation, whatever. To each his own. If that's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. We are not here to judge. So moving on, this concept that I just came across, Niyya, found this in Islamic spirituality. Niyya. And this concept is about intention. So we're going to go Sankalpa, we just talked about. We have Niyya and we have Yi. And so I want to read this from out of the Hadith. It says, verily, actions are judged by intentions. Intentions is Nia. Verily, actions are judged by intentions, and every person shall have only what they intended. This is from the Hadith. Verily, meaning assuredly, for sure. Actions are judged by intentions. Actions are judged by intentions, and every person shall have only what they intended. But I didn't intend for nothing. There you go. So our inner intention determines the spiritual quality or outcome of our outer actions. So what we're saying is what you say in here, inside your mind, determines what you're getting outside. So you think you can fool people by saying out loud lies and then telling the truth in your head. So out loud you would say, oh no, I am very confident. In your head you saying, no, I can't, no, I can't, no, I can't. I'm not worth. It's not what you say outside to the world, it's what you say internally to yourself. That inner intention determines the quality and outcome of your outer actions. So when you hear the term the all is mine, oh my, it's all up here. They say it's all in your mind, and we be like, you right, it is. No, for real. It's all in your mind. All that fear in your mind, that uncertainty in your mind, that doubt is in your mind. So where are you going to change it? Exactly at Walmart. No, you're going to change it in your mind. It ain't going to happen at the gym. It ain't going to happen sitting with your therapist. It ain't going to happen sitting under the guru. It ain't going to happen listening to songs. It's in your mind. And that's where you must change it. That's where the first effects happen before you start seeing it outside in the world. You make ready right here. You can lie to me all day. Don't lie to yourself. You think you're getting over on somebody. I tricked him. You tricked me, but the trick you played is really on you. Imagine you live your life for 30 years lying to yourself that you was something and had everybody outside believing you was that and you was good. You say, I tricked them. Then one day the truth came out. Who got tricked at that point? You spent this whole time pretending, lying like you was something. Then you got exposed. Now it's over. Or you can spend that time learning yourself, developing yourself, becoming yourself. And then what is exposed? What is the fear? People have fears based off of their performance, meaning they acting. So everybody's scared that somebody is going to realize that they've been acting. They're going to call you out. He's not real. What? No, I am real. If when you are fearlessly living authentically in yourself, what is they going to expose? What are they going to say? Look, that sauce right there. He living this. Look at him with his glasses. He think he. That's them. That's not us. That doesn't affect us because you are living authentically as yourself. So what are you hiding? So again, are we fearing death? Or are we fearing to live? Are we fearing being fully who we are intended to be? So we choose to live small. We make the intention not to live at all. A Taoist principle, Wu Wei, Yi, the power of intention, the power of your Yi. That precedes and directs your vital energy, your Qi. So when your Yi is clear and focused, action becomes effortless. This is Wu Wei. So many people break all this stuff up, try to make it this, and that. It's like it goes together. You see how this is body, spirit, mind. When your intention, when your Yi directs your Qi, you have Wu Wei. When your intention directs your energy, the intention, your aware attention directs your action, your life is effortless. One of the four ingredients. When you're impeccable with your word, when you do as you say and say as you do, your life is effortless. When you go against that, when you're living in spite of, that's why life is so hard. Because instead of adhering to your soul's contract and saying, this is what I'm here for, you over there looking at what they doing, trying to do what they're doing. Because you think that what they receive, their results are better than what you're going to receive. Yet, what you fail to realize is what they went through to get that. Or did they go through anything to get that? You don't know the agreements people are making. So you're looking at somebody's life or the results of what you think their life is. And you're like, oh my God, look at the house they got. Look at the cars they got. Look at all the physical possessions they got. But you don't know that they have no ownership. They're not in control of their life. They got all those physical possessions, but they can't determine what they're going to do in a day. They can't say no. So they are mainly a slave to those physical possessions. They are possessed by the possessions. And you are over there looking at this person and you're saying, I wish I was possessed by my possessions. Instead of being possessed by your passion, and then that affords you to possess anything that you desire because you're aligned with your purpose. But instead, we throw away passion, we replace passion with desire, and then we lack purpose. So I desire all these things, but I don't have a purpose and I ain't got no passion. So I'm just wanting things that I'm not going to appreciate, that I'm going to throw away later. Why? Because I don't appreciate myself and I am the thing that I end up throwing away later. So I don't appreciate myself. I don't appreciate anything else. It's right now. Give me that. Okay, now I need something new. Give me that. I need something new. I've got the house, the cars, the spouse, and still it's not enough. How many cars do you need? How many houses do you need? How many spouses do you need? When we're looking at the psychology of agency, which was created by Albert Bandura, this is talking about intentionality. So Albert Bandura tells us human agency is the capacity to influence one. Stop for a minute because it's everywhere. Here it is again. Human agency is the capacity to influence one's own functioning and circumstances through action. Human agency is the capacity to influence one's own functioning and circumstances through action. It ain't talking about nobody else but yourself. You can't control your own, so you want to control someone else. You're here to dictate your life, but you are incapable. So you want to dictate someone else. We want to be in somebody else's business, telling the neighbors what they need to do and how this person need to raise their kids and what this country needs to do. But you ain't doing it for yourself. This is why we have new leadership that is right now being prepared in this world as we speak, because people have been attempting to lead or having people follow people that were never in the lead. You cannot lead yourself, so how are you trying to lead others? This is why you have so many people that are talking about the problem is other people. So you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. If you lead a horse to water, are you supposed to make it drink? I led you to the water. Why am I trying to force you to drink? My job was to lead you to the water. I'm gone. But see, I can't lead myself. So I got to lead you and force you and do all these things. And it's like, yeah, it makes sense until it doesn't. Until you realize that these sayings and the people that's saying this type of stuff and have us believing this type of stuff are people who are not in the lead. They are not in spirit. So they want to mislead you. By the time you get to the destination where they took you to, now you're lost. How you going to get back to some place that you don't even know how you got there because somebody else is in the lead? This is what's happening. I don't know how I got here. I'm lost. And I don't know how I got here because somebody else is driving. Instead of being mad at them for driving me all the way out here, I need to be accountable with myself. Why did I let somebody drive me in the first place? Because I didn't want to drive. And why didn't I want to drive? Maybe I was being too lazy or I was drinking or whatever the case may be. The point is, be accountable for yourself. Start to direct your life. Because for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, he says, but in his heart, it's not with you. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, he says to you, but his heart is not with you. This is Proverbs 23:7. Thinketh in his heart. That's conviction. That's a deep heartfelt state of intention. It's not a casual thought. When you say thinketh in his heart, that ain't casual, bro. That's conviction. How you feel right here, that's conviction. How you feel right here, maybe, and what you feel right here, that's conviction. And when it says, he says to you, eat and drink, but his heart ain't with you. He's telling you to eat and drink, but his heart is not with you. And we're reminded that as we think in our heart, that's who we are. And I don't know your intention. I don't know how you think in your heart. So I really don't know who you are. So my job is not to try to find out who you are, it's to find out who I am. How do I think it in my heart? What is my conviction? So many of us want to know what you're thinking. And I can never know that. Not by asking you. I can never know by asking you. Yet it is not my intention to know someone else's life. It is my intention to know my life, to live my life. And coming from Paramahansa Yogananda, he tells us intention is the seed of every act. Also, yeah, that person did that. You like, but they didn't intend to. You sure? Intention is the seed of every act. Know what you're planning through intention because that's determining what you experience. Know what you plant through intention because that determines what you experience. So now in every part of your day, you need to be like, what is my intent? Because that is affecting what I am receiving. Am I intent on actually living life, or am I intent on being in the world or of the world? Simple. Because that is going to affect what you receive. Keep it simple. And so empowerment is going to happen when our intention becomes clearly defined. Empowerment is going to happen when our intention is aligned with our values. Empowerment is going to happen when our intention is supported by action. Notice the action is very important. You got to act on it. You have to act out on it. You make the intention, then you act and watch what happens. Before you didn't make that action. You was just like, you was intent on constantly saying things and not doing them. I was there. I was intent on telling people what I would do, but then I ain't do it. Then I was intent on being silent, not telling nobody nothing, and everybody like, what you doing? 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 But that just shows that every action was backed by intent. I had the intention on telling them, but I ain't had the intention on actually doing it. I was too fearful to do it because then I was worried about what they was gonna say when I did it. Now that I'm intent on not telling them because I'm intent on doing it, because I don't care about what they gonna say. Because they're talking because they ain't doing. And we're too busy doing, so we ain't talking. And I want you to see the same thing, that the people that you're afraid about what they're gonna say, they ain't doing nothing anyway. Because if they was, they wouldn't have time to speak on what you're doing. So why are we worried about people who are judging when we busy enough judging ourselves? I ain't worried about you. You can judge all you want to. I judge myself more than you anyway. So you ain't no problem. You're nothing. I ain't worried about that. I have to figure out, why do I do that and how to alleviate that, because that's my issue. Judging myself and then being the jury and also being the victim. You're like, dang. You judge, then you're the victim, then you're jury. Why'd I do that? Guilty. Hey, what? We need to stop doing that. And this is what we're talking about now as we're talking about awakening intention. It's to remove that judgment and that victimization that we've been putting on ourselves. And so we need an action. We need a practice to develop. That's why we move from the life key to the life action. This is the seeding ritual that I'm going to provide you with. And again, do it, don't do it. It's the choice. Just make intention. Be aware, be intent, and then act on it. Okay. So this is a part of our process, the ceremony that we're doing to move into intention from a mind to energy. So instead of thinking about it, we're acting out on it. We're moving from the thoughts to the action, right? This is our sovereign authority. This is our Sankalpa. So the first step that we have, right? This is for purification. And remember, this is a seed. So the first step that we have is to clear the soil. So in clearing the soil and purifying, we're going to sit quietly. We're going to place hands on our lower belly, down tien, okay? And we're going to breathe deeply. And with each exhale, you're going to release any and all mental clutter that you have, the doubt, the confusion, the fears, the old narratives. Um, all of that is going to come out that exhale. And we're going to whisper to ourselves, I clear my field. I clear my field with my awareness. I clear the field with my awareness. We're just clearing the field. It's like if you were to actually go outside, right? We have our own farmland. We got to till the land first. We got to clear the field of all that debris first because we're about to plant seeds. This is that purification. We're clearing the soil. Okay. Our next step, we're going to clarify. So we craft the seed, select which seed we're going to plant. So the first step that we have here is we ask. We're going to ask. Ask and ye shall receive. So we're going to ask, what quality of being do I choose to cultivate this season? Because have you ever asked yourself, to make aware, it starts with that. What is it that I want? Do I really want this? Have you ever asked yourself, what do you want? Or do you just start accepting stuff? You saw the new thing on TikTok, you said, oh, I want that. Everybody got that. 100 people got that. I want that too. Did you really want it? No, you didn't. Because as soon as you got it, it went in the dang basement and it just collected dust. But you really wanted that thing. So you want to ask, what quality of being do I choose to cultivate? That is key. Do I choose to cultivate this season? So an example of that is I choose to cultivate an unshakable peace this season. This is not a goal. It is a state that we are going to be in. Then we're going to form a sentence. One sentence, right? This is for empowerment. This is our Sankopa. I am. And then following that am is the quality. I am blank. I live from blank. We talked about earlier, we no longer put negatives after that. So now we are going to say, I am and I live from. Then we're going to charge that seed. This is imprinting. This is where you start to showcase and start to recognize your ability, the power that God gave you that you didn't even know you had. You're like, dang, I can do superpowers unlocking. So we're going to imprint, we're going to charge the seed. And we're just going to hold our hands, right? It's like you cradling a tiny little seed, right? You just hold your hand. You be doing this, hold our hands, right? And we're going to breathe the essence of our Sankopa, what you said, I am and I live from. We're going to breathe that into the space. And as you're breathing that, you're going to feel the vibrations. That song just came in my head. Feel. Yep. You're going to feel, all right? We're going to see the color. We're going to feel the temperature, and we're going to visualize that it is glowing. Like that seed has life now. Okay. Visualization. Here, we're rewiring, reworking things. Now we move to embody. So we're planting this seed in our heart. So we want to bring our seed hands to our heart center. Okay. And you want to press them gently against your chest, however you want to do it. So do it like this, do it like this, do it like this, whatever you want to do. Press it gently against your chest with a firm, loving breath. That means not with no hate, animosity, no doubt. That's not part of love. Love is just going to be clear, it's relaxed, it's fearless. You're going to visualize planting that seed deep within the soil of your heart. I'm going to say, I plant this intention in the fertile ground of my being. I nurture it with my attention. So I plant this intention in the fertile ground of my being, and I nurture it with my attention. Now, move to the last step, which is attention. This is the daily watering, because when you plant that seed in the ground, you need to give it attention. That's daily watering. I'm giving that attention when I'm watering it. Okay. So each morning now, when we wake up, we want to place that hand on our heart where we planted that seed and you recall that feeling. Remember your saying, culpa, because that's what we implanted in there. I am blank and I live from. You're going to recall that. You're just going to ask, how does my quality want to live through me today? And you just listen, right? How does the quality that you said, I am this and I live from this, how does that want to live through me today? You're just going to listen. Maybe it wants to live through you and you creative. Maybe you're just at peace, whatever it is. I don't like to project a lot because then you might be hearing what I said. We not. I want you to show that you already tapped in. We don't need no middleman, right? We just need to tune the antennas to the right frequency, and then we start being receptive. Okay. So now we move to our contrast and then our close. So we're contrasting here intention and impulse. Intention on one side, impulse on the other. This is now wishing versus intending. Because if we set our intention, we're intending. If we hoping and wishing, that's impulse. It's reactive, right? It's driven by our, I don't want to say bad, but the habits that we had, our fears and our emotions. When we're impulsive, that's emotional. That's fear-based. Those are like habits. Like, I'm just used to doing this on impulse. I just naturally did it. Why you did that? I didn't know what I did. Because you're just so used to doing it, right? When we wish, that is also passive and external. So what we're showing is when we talk about intention and impulse, we're showing outside versus inside. We're showing being external, internal, living inspired versus living in spite of, being in the world, being of the world. You see this? This push and pull. Okay. So when we wishing for things, when we're hoping for things, when we're impulsive, that's passive. That's outside of us. And so that energy is scattered, is very hopeful that things will happen. But that means it's a victim to its circumstances. So I hope I can find peace. Peace is free. Talking about, you know what time it is? When we're like that, scattered, when we're a victim to our circumstances, when we're hopeful, that means our focus is on an external outcome. I'm only doing this because the external outcome. I'm not coming from here. Matter of fact, if y'all wasn't even paying me what y'all was paying me, I wouldn't even be here. That means our posture is about receiving from the world, not giving from the inside. Yet, when we switch that, and we're now moving off our intention, that is a conscious direction. We know exactly which way we're going. And that in what we talked about, our awareness and our alignment with our life. So that means I'm active, moving from the internal, moving with intention. That means my energy is focused, that I'm directing my day and directing my energy where it should go and where it should not go. I am claiming agency over my life. I cultivate peace within. I'm not hoping I can find it. I cultivate peace within. So then guess what happens? There will be peace without. My focus then is not on the external world, it's on the internal state of being and making sure that I am moving in aligned action. So I'm not focused on outside, I'm focused on the inside. My posture then is broadcasting to the world. Hey, world. One of the first things in coding, be like, hello, world. That is like the intention that making when we had the intention to make spirit into form. Hello, world. So you're broadcasting to the world, not receiving from it, not taking in. We are consciously directing our life. So our awareness and our alignment, which we are rooted in, is allowing us to consciously direct our life. And we begin to understand that when we are in impulse, everything felt urgent. It was like, it got to be done right now. It ain't enough time in the day. Like, overwhelmed. Yet, when we are in intention around it, like, okay, cool, I can get these things done. I just maybe need to move some things. We don't feel as overwhelmed. And we damn sure don't feel like everything is urgent. It'd be like, matter of fact, it's the opposite. You start moving from intention, you like, look, yeah, I, I will do that on the 364th day. It'll still be done. You start to like